Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is one of the best defensive ends in the entire country and a top tier freshman from the 2025 season. And he has the accolades to go along with that. Already 1 year into his career, getting recognition after recognition on a national scale, and he's got a whole lot more years at the collegiate level to rack up some more accolades before going off to the NFL and continuing to dominate in the pros. Ladies and gentlemen, 6'2" defensive end out of Maryland, Sidney Stewart. What's going on, man?
So what's up? How's everybody doing? How you doing, Jay? Glad to be here. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely, man. Excited to get you on. I got in contact with you early on in the season after you just dominated game after game to open up your career. I didn't even realize you were a true freshman at first. I just knew you were really good at what you did. And the fact that year one on the field at the college level, you could do this was absolutely insane. And before we hop into the questions, I want fans, viewers that are just now getting to learn your name, see your face for the first time, to get to learn some of these accolades that I talked about in a quick segment that I like to call Resume Rundown, where I'm going to show off
Yeah.
a nice little graphic here with what you were able to do. All Big
Uh,
Ten selection in year one with the Terps. You were a Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year watch list nominee, and you were a freshman All American across the board, and rightfully so, because I mean, you
yeah.
just dominated from right off the bat. And I want to take this back to the preseason before the season even started. You're coming in, you're getting used to the college ranks, you're getting used to the rhythm, the schedule that is a lot more intense from when you were at the high school ranks. Talk me real quick about when it kind of all started to click together for you in preseason, when it kind not only to where you realized, okay, not only can I be a starter on this team, but I'm one of the best defensive ends in the entire Big Ten.
Sure. That's a good question. I think I definitely got the jump early coming in. I was able to graduate early. Came in during like right around this time last year. So, I was able to get in with the team in the winter workouts and the winter lifting. So I think definitely had a long ways to go conditioning wise, but as far as like weight room strength, I definitely was up to par, if not ahead of a lot of guys, and I think that's because I was able to do my due diligence. Plus, I didn't play my senior season of high school, so with that time, I was able to get my body ready and stuff like that. So shout out to them boys that helped me during that time, Coach Dan, Coach Brown, Coach Batts, all them guys back home. So but and then the first when I immediately knew it, it definitely was first practice. It was first practice. It was all for I ain't gonna say no names, but first one on one pass rep, man. I was walking on eggshells. I was definitely nervous, and rightfully so. I think, even if you prepare yourself, if you're a humble dude and you understand that this is a competitive sport, you could lose at any given moment. So, I mean, as a competitor, I don't want to lose. So, I was definitely nervous, but I ended up having a really good first practice, and so it just clicked for me first day. I think. Now, obviously, you grow, you get better, but as far as like speed and just motor and ability to go, I think that was there from the get go.
Hey, there you go, man. And obviously it showed. And you had a great group that was able to kind of help get you used to the ranks right off rip. And you were coming in, you were replacing a veteran group on that defensive line. I mentioned him before we started recording. Quayshawn Fuller, great friend of mine from back in my middle school days. I've known him for years. I call him a grandpa at the college ranks his last year because he was there forever. Shout out Quay.
Yeah,
Love you, brother. And you also got to learn from a very talented defensive line coach who had over a decade of experience in the NFL ranks, former first round pick, and defensive line coach Corey. I apologize if I mispronounce his name, Luget.
yeah.
He obviously did a great job with this defensive line this year. Talk me real quick about the expectations for yourself under his tutelage and how he was really able to help get you to be what you were this past year.
So I'm more so work with Coach Monachino, who's our defensive coordinator and our outside linebackers coach. So that's who I was mainly with. But I mean, even with that said, I mean, I would find times with Coach Corey Leggett. But as far as Coach Monachino, I mean, he's well known in the football world. I think coached with the Ravens. I think he's won a Super Bowl. Coached all over in the NFL. Coached at a few different college spots. So he's definitely the truth. I appreciate Coach. Like, I think he's brought me a long way mentally. I think, with him helping me, and he's coached all different types of guys in my position, Hall of Famer guys, low level draft picks, like college, collegiate level guys. So he has an understanding of how to, take the information that he knows and then just bring it along and pass it along to us. I think, with us being this new young group, sorry, my dog, is pretty excited, but with this new young group, I think we did a great job. Like just coming in, like like you said, we basically lost a lot of our D line, and even with that said, we was able to just come in and just kind of bring a similar type effect, if not maybe better in some people's eyes, um, immediately. And I think a large part of that is because of our coaching, and shout out them for that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. And right off rip, game one, you made an impact. Florida Atlantic, first game of the season, first game of your collegiate career. You go
Yeah,
off three TFLs, a big time sack, doing what you
yeah,
do best, showing people, hey, I'm here, I'm ready for this, and I'm going to be around for a while, so get used to it. Talk to
yeah.
me real quick about that first game and how you would say that really set the tone throughout the rest of the season for the consistent year that you seem to have week after week.
Yeah, I would say, for me, I just think like every game is an opportunity. We were starting with those out of conference games, so I mean, some people view them as warm ups, but these guys came here to play, came here to try and beat us too. So, you know, um, I had every intent of trying to make as many plays as possible. You feel me? So, yeah, I mean, and what I've been told is that if you go looking for plays, the offense gonna find it first. So you're better off just doing your job. And if you do your job really well and efficiently, then the plays will fall in your lap. Obviously, there's times where instinct and talent takes over, and then when it does, and it's very visible on the tape. But I think as far as just the plays coming to me, I think that's part of the scheme, part of me, just being a playmaker, and I think that all ultimately still comes down to Maryland as a structure, because even having the freedom to, what I'm saying, maybe tweak it a little bit and do my own thing a little bit on X, Y, and Z on this play and stuff, the freedom to do what pass rush move I want to do, or blah, 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 however you want to put it, I think that still comes from my coach trust, even as being young, still allowing that youngness to really show, because it's kind of fresh. It's like a cold cut. Like when you bite it, you can really, what I'm saying, taste the freshness in that jump. So I think I definitely appreciate my coaches for that.
Hey, there you go, man. And obviously, you this season were able to put up some big time highlights throughout the year. And I want to talk about a few of them in a segment that I like to call Make That Play, where I'm going to show off what I felt like were your top three plays from this past season, went through the highlights, went through the film. And
Yeah,
obviously, you had a lot of
for
big
sure.
time plays, and it was hard for me to just
Sure.
pick three. But I came down to my list. But obviously, I'm just a fan of the stands. I'm just a stats guy. You're the one on the
Yeah,
field doing what you do best. So, what would you say was your best play from this past season?
let's play. Okay. Well, my favorite play by far is I had a sack against Michigan, and that was by far my favorite play. When I look back at the play, there's a really big crowd pop on that play. Bryce Underwood, he's another great freshman. I got a chance to be able to sack him. Um, and I was having some really good rushes earlier on in that game, but I wasn't quite able to get there. So I was kind of not frustrated, but I knew it was coming at some point. So when I finally got it, I was definitely excited for sure.
Oh yeah, that one
Yeah,
was on my list there for a little while. Ended up being at number four, to be completely honest with you. But I'll get
yeah,
into my top three. And at
okay,
number three was actually your sack against Towson, where you ended up dropping into coverage for a bit,
yeah,
kept your eye on the quarterback for a moment. He started scrambling out, and you came up, said, "No, you're not scrambling on my watch."
yeah,
Boom, put him in the dirt, laid him on his butt for a big time sack there. Number two, going against UCLA, had a strip sack, forced fumble there for for your team. Came off the block with a nice little swing move and just collided with force with that QB for UCLA to force him to fumble the ball. Created a big time loss of yardage for the Bruins there. Helped your team get some good field position. Number
yeah,
one, got to go to the season opener. That safety sack that you had against the Owls, I thought was just absolutely incredible. I mean, first game of the season, first game of your collegiate career, like I mentioned,
Yeah,
you pushed him back to the 5 yard line in their own territory. You ended up shutting off not just one, but two different blocks and just
yeah,
pulverized the quarterback inside of the end zone for 2 points on the board for your team, helping your team rack up those numbers throughout the season. And obviously, you yourself, you were just able to get into the backfield at will. There were 8 different games where you had at least one sack. 5 straight games to start the season, you had a sack. So you were able to get into a consistent groove from game one all throughout the
yeah.
year to where you were able to find a rhythm. Talk to me real quick about developing that consistency and rhythm and how that affected you throughout the year.
Sure. That's actually one of my biggest gripes. I think, not from a large amount of people, but from a few people, few haters and stuff. There's like this misconception that I kind of dwindled down as the season went on. Well, one thing as a young guy, that I got to experience and be able to learn is that wear and tear is real. And you have to be sure to just take care of your body because them injuries might slow you down and stuff. And regardless of that, your team is expecting you to show up and play. So I think I was able to push through some of those and some of those games and still try to find myself be consistent. But more so, you need to watch the film of yourself to see what it is, the trial and error issues that you had from last game. Like, what was I struggling with? Was my pad level getting up too high? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think being able to watch myself and pinpoint the things that I was successful at or not so successful at, and then carry that over into the next game and improve on or maintain those abilities. I think that definitely was a big piece. And yeah, for sure. I think that's how I was able to maintain my consistency.
Hey, well, for the very few haters that you have, watch the film on this guy. He had a sack against Michigan, UCLA, Wisconsin. Need I say more? So obviously they don't know football, but you obviously do. And so does one of your teammates in a fellow freshman All-American,
Yes, yes,
Zahir Mathis.
yes.
Is that
Mathis, Mathis,
Mathis?
Mathis.
Okay.
Yes,
I had a 50-50 shot. I
yeah.
did not win. But hey, man, the duo of you guys on that defensive line was insane. And the
Yeah,
fact that both of you are freshmen, where you guys can continue to develop together, hopefully you guys remain together throughout your careers, because obviously what you guys
sure.
did in just year one was absolutely elite. Talk to me real quick about the potential for you guys as a duo and even both of yourselves individually overall, obviously being able to continue your career coming off of this dominant freshman year for you both.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out that boy Zah. You know what I'm saying? Zah's the truth. Real deal. Man, I can say so much about Zah, but I'm gonna say, you know, me and Zah getting to a point where the arguments start becoming who's gonna get drafted first. You know what I'm saying? I think me and Zah both know that to have a guy of same age, same ability, and to end up on the same team it's not, it doesn't really happen very often. So it's something precious. I think us both and as well as the university did a great job of making sure we could do that again next year. So shout out boy Zah. He's a real deal talent. So we compete every day, and that's real brotherhood. That's what makes us both better. I think I'm better than him. He think he's better than me, and I wouldn't really want it no other way. And I love him off the field and on the field. I think we're a great pairing. I think really my whole outside linebacker group, I'll stack us up against really anybody. We just mesh so well together, off the field too. We're really actually brothers, and that's something I really appreciate. And yeah, I'm just excited to keep playing with Zah. Yeah, I do want to play with him. Pause. Whoa, I do want him to be on my team as long as possible.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
absolutely. He is absolutely insane, just like yourself. And it's very hard for a team to get one incredible pass rusher on their team. And obviously, you have the two of you, the other linebackers, and just this defense as a whole was incredible. And you guys ended up starting the season off 4-0, but ended up kind of trailing off in Big Ten conference. Big Ten, in my opinion, was the best conference this past year. Obviously, you had
really.
Indiana, you had Michigan, you had Oregon, Ohio State, very talented
Yeah.
conference overall. You guys ended up falling to 4-8 overall on the season, 1-8 in conference action, but were able to come out on top in some big time games. I mentioned that FAU game. You showed some promise there, 39-7 win there. Towson, 44-17 win. Going against Wisconsin in the Big Ten opener. They're a very talented team. 27-10 win right off rip to go 4-0. Talk real quick about that start to this season where everything seemed to click. What would you say really went right that you feel like, okay, we know this was why we were able to off to a good start last year. Let's get back to that going into the 2026 season.
Yeah. So I think, with the older guys that were on the team having been through that and combination and tangent with or in tangent with the new fresh young talent we had brought in, I think, their mindset along with our ability and their ability as well, um, it just we were to mesh that together and kind of get off to a quick start. I think when I had seen the team during spring and during camp, I was just obviously I hadn't been on no other team, so it's hard for me to say what caliber of team we are. But at that moment, I really thought like we were really one of the most talented teams in college football, and that's what we were showing throughout the beginning of the games. But that talent is what allowed us to win those games. But what we learned pretty soon is that talent doesn't win you games, and it's great and dandy, and we look good on paper. But especially with this new landscape of college football, guys are a lot older, playing a lot longer. So talent isn't necessarily the answer sometimes. Like Indiana has an average age of 24 or something like that. So I
Mhm.
mean, going into that game, like you start to look at they're a well-oiled machine. They're not making the type of mistakes that we were making. And but I think there's kind of beauty in the mistakes because they're fixable. That's the great thing about it is they're easily fixable, and we have now an off season with this playbook because along with new players, this was a new defensive scheme and offensive scheme. So I think now that we have that under our belt and we have a better understanding and more experience
Mhm.
of college football, I think really the sky's the limit for this team. And I think we were able to retain uh, a lot of our key players. We missed out on some guys. I wish the best for them boys. They my guys for life. They know who they is. I love them. But as far as who we kept, I think we was able to keep a large sum of our talent from last year. So I think, yeah, I mean, but that's not enough, like I said. So we'll have to piece that together and turn it into some wins next year.
Hey, absolutely. And you mentioned right there, yeah, you guys did lose some talent, but you're bringing back a good group. And a lot of the guys that, like yourself, were in their first year, if not maybe their second year on the field for this team. Obviously,
Right?
you're coming back. You have Za coming back. Your guys' quarterback, Malik Washington, he was a freshman
Yeah.
last year. You're always going to have those growing pains. Obviously, this season was a growing pain. And despite
Right.
not going the way you guys wanted it to, there are some lessons that you guys were able to learn. So, how
Yeah.
would you say that this tough year this past season can be looked to as a positive as far as the lessons that were learned going into this next year for this young nucleus?
Yeah. So I would say, you know, I, with Maryland as a program, I think uh, this area has always just had very, very talented individuals. Um, I think, especially with our football team, we weren't so fortunate as to maybe keep all those guys in state. I mean, even if you just think of just Maryland, we're a really considerably smaller state, especially when you compare it to a state like California, Texas. The Olympian with the most medals is from here. Michael Phelps is from Maryland. You know what I'm saying? That's just an example of the type of talent that we produce out here. And then if you look at the DMV as a whole, like I think we're doing a great job of just keeping these guys in. I think we brought some nice freshmen in, really talented dudes. Guys that's ready to play early because that's how it is nowadays in college football. I mean, you want to get to the green, you gotta get to the green. You gotta play on that field. So, yeah, I think I'm really just excited because yeah, I think like I said, we was able to look at the fixable mistakes and off of those, realize that it's not a matter of the other team. We were really beating ourselves on a lot of these games. And if we were able to close out in the fourth quarter, like there was games we was losing by 3 points, 4 points, a touchdown. Like the difference of that, with whether we win or lose. So I think, yeah, with that newfound understanding, we should definitely be able to capitalize.
Hey, there you go. I can't wait to see what you do next season. I mean, this season alone, you had 7 sacks, 10 and a half TFLs. I know you're looking to grow those numbers next year and help lead your team to even more wins, bowl game eligibility, hopefully a championship in your guys' future as well. And I know you've been hyping up your teammates throughout this interview. Obviously, we've mentioned some of them already, but I want to give you
Yeah.
a chance to shout a few more out or even some of the ones that you already have once again in a segment we're about to
Mm.
get into called Who's Up Next, where you get the
Up
opportunity to
next.
recommend some people for me to have on the podcast, get them to tell their story, talk about their careers just as you're doing now. So, who would you say is
Yeah.
next up on the Some Sports podcast?
Great question. Great question. I'm gonna go my boy. Definitely Daniel Wingate, my captain, my captain. I'm gonna go my youngin' Hakeem Satterwhite. Just got up to join. He graduated early. Shout out Keem. Iverson Howard, running back. He was my roommate. You know what I'm saying? He's got great convos. He's from Maryland. He helped me get here. Malik is the obvious pick, Malik. Definitely CJ Smith. CJ Smith. Great freshman standout linebacker. I think my boy had like 50 plus tackles. Um, yeah, CJ's the truth, man. He was out there with us, right along with us. I wish CJ would have got a little bit more recognition too, because he was really hooping as a freshman too. So shout out CJ
Hey, there
for
you go,
sure.
man. Obviously, a whole lot of great names right there for who's up next. Definitely looking to get a lot of them on because the Terps are ready to bounce back next year in 2026, go back to a bowl game, hold up a trophy at the end of the season with you, Za, Malik, all these young guys helping to lead the way. And I cannot wait to see what you guys do next season. So now we got to talk about what's next. What is next for your game to really develop going into this 2026 season to where you feel like you can take that next step and not only continue to be an all conference selection, but now be an All American once again, but at the highest level possible?
Yeah, for sure. I think I wanted to improve my speed in general, just being speedier, and I think a big piece of it was now that I have playing under my belt and I understand what it is going in, week out, how to better take care of my body, how to avoid injury while on the field. Um, yeah, I think with the combination of those two things, I think next season is going to be immaculate, sensational. Some might say.
There you
You know what
go.
I'm saying? So,
Those are some great words right there. Those are some
you
big
know what I'm
words there.
saying? Very,
I,
very verbose around here. Shout
hey,
out moms, shout out pops. You know what I'm saying? They really, yeah, it got me right. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I love that right there. That is awesome, man. I cannot wait to see what you do this upcoming season. Get you back on the podcast next year after another outstanding performance and hear what other new words you have to say next year when we get you
Sure.
on. Absolutely incredible to get you on, man. Like I said before, I reached out to you at the start of the season. I saw what you were doing. I saw that potential. And you obviously made good on it well past what a lot of people, those few haters that you said you had, I doubt they're haters
Well,
anymore after what you did, man, because you got a long
yeah.
career to go, especially once you make it to the pro ranks. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on the Slim Sports podcast for what, in my opinion, was one of the most fun interviews I have done so far this season. So thank you so much.
Appreciate that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you for having me, Jay. That was pretty fun, pretty cool.